Welcome everyone, Christine here on Serious Gaming with an update on Chaos Warriors DLC and why it's slightly less terrible now than what we had before. Why? Because Creative Assembly is now offering the DLC for everyone that buys the game within the first week. So you buy the game, within the first week you will get the Chaos Warriors DLC. And this comes after months of being slammed on the subject and after Battlefleet Gothic Armada was released. Like, these are the two main reasons in my opinion as to why they did this. There's a third reason, but that's just my personal take. But two main reasons I imagine they did this is the fact, well, they got slammed for it, they got hacked to pieces for it. A lot of people were and still are angry over it, and you should not forgive them just because they're giving it in the first week. But secondly, Battlefleet Gothic Armada, a game set in the Warhammer 40k universe, released recently, and it has early adopter offer. So if you buy the game within the first 2 months, or if you pre-ordered the game, you would get the Space Marine fleet and another fleet, which they only recently revealed to be the Tau fleet, because that's what people wanted. That was the most voted one. So we're gonna get the Tau for Battlefleet Gothic Armada. And if you buy the game within the first 2 months, you can, obviously you can do it right now. It's only released recently. You'll get both those fleets. Now that's not day one DLC, by the way. That's not something they took out of the game, something that they used resources to develop that could have been used to develop the base game. Those were not resources taken away from the base game to make this DLC. No, Space Marines are not done. They'll be done in June. That's when they're gonna be released, according to the developer. And how much later than that? So that's a very different situation than what Creative Assembly did, which is take 1/5 of the game and put it as a pre-order bonus. How wonderful, right? How fucking wonderful. Chaos is a very important faction in the game. Forget the storyline, the timeline, the lore, all of that. In the game, based on the victory conditions they've shown in their own sodding videos on their own YouTube channel, you have to defeat the Chaos Warriors. So unimportant, some people argued. Right. Archeon is an unimportant character, right? Oh, no. He's actually a very important character, and the Chaos Warriors is a very important faction inside of the game itself, let alone the lore, the timeline, the storyline that they set the game in. So, take that however you want. That's what they've decided to go with this decision because Battlefleet Gothic was getting a lot of positive attention from people because of their campaign, and obviously since they're both Warhammer games, people were gonna draw those parallels. So thanks to Tendalos and Focus Home Interactive and to the people who slammed the shit out of Creative Assembly for what they did, because there's finally some small steps they're taking. Oh, of course, the third reason they might have done this, and this is just me being a cynical asshole that I obviously am, but the third reason they might have done this is that recently it was revealed that the game will use the Nouveau DRM, which has pissed off quite a few people. Why? Because DRM is a plague on the industry, and more importantly, a lot of the hardcore fan base of Total War plays the games with mods, one way or another. What can the Nouveau do? I'm not saying it will necessarily do so, but I'm inclined to believe that the company that has wanted to take a swipe at mods for a while and has stated openly that they won't support mods for Total War Warhammer, I'm inclined to believe that they'll fuck with the modding community for Total War Warhammer. And that obviously pisses off a lot of people. So if I am cynical, I'm saying, oh yeah, they want to get some good publicity considering the shit they did with the Nouveau, right? One step forward, 2 steps backwards. The Nouveau thing doesn't, the Chaos Warriors change doesn't justify screwing over the entire modding community potentially. The DRM is a plague, and it screws over mods. It's like, oh, but there are games that use that have mods that use the Nouveau. You mean games that have cracks available? The latest version of the Nouveau doesn't have a crack available. The earlier versions that were used for Dragon Age Inquisition, which has mods, and Metal Gear Solid 5, which has mods, have been cracked. And by the way, since Creative Assembly made the argument that the Nouveau only affects the Exe, those cracks, some of the cracks, and a lot of cracks actually in general, don't actually attack the Exe. They go after the DRM files, which are not necessarily tied to the Exe. So it's like their Nouveau is an anti-tamper technology which is meant to prevent tampering with game files. Basically, if they want to, they can prevent mods from existing for Total War Warhammer, and they probably will, right? Their argument over licensing is just a load of crap. They don't want mods because it interferes with their precious unit packs or their campaign packs and all the crappy DLC packs they've crammed in their games since Empire has come out. That's the problem. That's the issue. So in order to make up for that, because they were being slammed by quite a few people on that subject, they decided to make this change with Chaos Warriors. At least that's what I think. And then, you know, a small step forward is the fact that, hey, you remember that company that made the arguments since Shogun 2 Blood Pack came out that they had to include it in a separate DLC because otherwise the rating of their game would increase and they'd go from a 16 age rating to an 18 age rating if they included blood? Oh yeah, remember that company? Well, for the latest videos on their channel, there's this rating at the beginning of each of those videos. Enjoy! Right, we can't have blood, except when we can. Mild blood, so we don't have the ridiculously crappy showers of blood and we have mild blood, which is more realistic and reasonable. You know, I don't like the showers of blood. I want blood, I don't want the explosions of blood. That's nonsensical, even in a Warhammer game. You know, I want reasonable amounts of blood. It's like, oh yeah, you'll have blood because the rating says you'll have blood. Now this is a tier rating, but just to give an idea as to why their argument was nonsense, Dawn of War 2, Dawn of War 1, Dark Souls 2, which have blood, every single one of them, and gore, and executions, have a 16 age rating. Or even less, really. Dark Souls 2 has a T rating, actually, when we're looking at the US. I'm not sure what the PEGI rating is for Dark Souls 2. Probably less than 16, actually, given the fact that it got the T rating. Or maybe it's 16. I think it is 16, actually. So yeah, you can have a game rated for 16, which is what they said they wanted to, you know, get that particular rating. But they were lying out of their asses, as I see it. Except that they want T rating, which is not 16, by the way. It's not 16. It's more akin to 12, essentially. That's what they want, because they want to fool parents to buy this game for kids. Full stupid parents, that is, who think these ratings mean anything when they fucking don't, by the way. Really, you want to give the you know what's worse? The worst experience you could give a child? Buying a game that's an online title that has a T rating, and then putting that kid to play that game online. That is something that's far worse than anything. Nudity, blood, sex, whatever, right? Curse words. That's gonna screw a kid in the head. Not nudity or sexual interactions or anything like that. That's insignificant in comparison to the shit you'll see in online games. Just a thought. Just my 2 cents on the subject of ratings. So yeah, Total War Warhammer will have an early adopter package for the game where you can get the Chaos Warriors for free if you buy it in the first weeks. And it will have mild blood, even though they said we can't have blood because it will affect our rating. And then they get the T rating with mild blood. So bullshit detected, Creative Assembly. You're scumbags. You'll continue to remain scumbags. And this does not justify the other shit you've done. If you're happy about this, well, you should, to a certain extent, but just keep in mind the major caveat with Denuvo potentially screwing over the entire modding community for the game. And I know the rabbits that make up the fan base for these games, the fanboys, fangirls, whatever, for these games will try and just say, well, you know, they can't give mod support, they can't allow mods because of Games Workshop. Right. Yeah, absolutely. Costin here, signing out. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video.